So we're here today with Mark Sorensen, who has graciously agreed to be on the Awakening Cosmic Reality interview show today. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today, Ileana.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Okay. Basically, I'm an entrepreneur by heart and trade. Was in the industry of building for years, most of my life, creative and working with developments and projects, resorts, and hands-on carpentry work. So I love that kind of hands-on aspect and working with those kind of things. But later on, about 10 years ago, had a little bit of an awakening, and I got into the holistic world, the healing world, the energy world, and came through some different processes of Reiki Master, NLP, processology, heart resonance therapy, and then building a small clientele doing that kind of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then about eight, 8 years ago, time keeps on going by. 10 years ago, I had an awakening, which was really interesting because it wasn't just your ordinary aha moment. It was an actual visit in my home by a light being, and I was sitting in my hot tub, just relaxing, just having Epsom salts, and just clearing my energy field, and I had this vision. It was a vision of the earth beside me, and there was 12 crystal skulls around the outside, and there was one on top. And I never really knew what a crystal skull was before until that moment. I'm going, what is this, right? And this energy came down from above, a light. I could see it coming down into the top skull, and it went into all 12 around the planet, and went inside the planet, and the planet kind of cracked and split with light and just infused out in a beautiful array of energy. And I'm going, wow, kind of, what is that? What's going on? And in that moment, I heard this light showed up, and I heard this voice coming telepathically. I couldn't figure out any other way it was coming to me, and it said, "I've come to awaken you. You are behind schedule. We need to get you going. We need to fast track you. You know, you have much work to do. You have much learning to do. You have a purpose here." And I'm kind of going, okay, right. Who is this? What's going on? It's like one of those comedy TV shows. Am I in candid camera? Right? But long of the short, within the next day, I met a person who led me to another person, who introduced me to this older couple. And that was a turning point for me in moving forward in this journey. This older couple who I had met through this lady brought me to the home, and I didn't know these people, of course, never met them before. They live close by where I live, north of Toronto. And I come walking in the door, and she stands back and looks at me. And they're an elderly couple in their mid 60s, gray hair kind of thing. He's got the white hair and the beard happening. And he goes, "There you are, Rata. We've been looking all over for you." And I'm thinking, who's Rata? Never heard of that before, right? Not really one into Egyptian mythology or old texts or anything like that at that time, anyways. And of course, we went in, sat down, and she went on to tell me that we came in here in the beginning on a ship. There was a group of us come to assist Mother Earth. She called for help, and we came. And I go, wow, this is really out there, right? And I'm just listening and letting it all sink in and everything. And then, of course, there was a frequency called Ptah frequency, which spoke through her to me, saying, "We've been looking for you for some time now. We're glad we found you. You are here now. We will begin to work together to do what we come here to do." It's not our first time that we are here incarnated into beings and doing the work. We have been here since the beginning of time on this planet. And I found that rather fascinating and yet mind-blowing at the same time. You can only imagine, right?
Yeah.
So long of it short, they began to teach me about energy, reading people's energy, how it flows into my body, how my energy is all around the planet and around different beings and different places, and how other beings who are dark or have darkness around them would attempt to steal my energy and put that around them and take their dark energy and put it around me. And so it was a learning lesson of finding out whose energy is whose, what the hierarchy is of these beings, and just attempting to make some sense of it all. And
Wow.
that was in the beginning days of moving forward. And so in learning that, I took those energies from those lessons, and of course I got downloads every day for half an hour to an hour. I just couldn't stop it. I'd sit there, my leg would thump up and down like a rabbit, just going boom, 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 because the energy going through me was so strong. I had to dissipate it somehow. And these frequencies would turn into lessons or knowing, or in a moment I would know I'd have to say this or do this, or I'd have to channel this or speak with these beings. And then before I knew it, I started connecting with different light beings. They'd come and talk with me. Galactic councils would come and talk with me. And next thing I knew, I was actually orchestrating and gathering the councils together, the elders. It'd be like the chancellor of these groups and these meetings. And so I've got to learn a lot about what is going on, not just on Earth, but galactically, so to speak, right? So using all of this knowledge coming through, I've managed to make a path here on this timeline to do some work, which I call quantum holographic programming, right? And so it's in a sense, it's a kind of spontaneous healing. Quantum meaning there is no timeline, past, present, or future, of course, right? And holographic is we're just a hologram anyways, just a matrices of energies and programming. So what I do is I work with a person either in this lifetime or take them to a past lifetime, reprogram their matrix and release the karma, release the negativity, release the dark result, bring them back to the present, and then the issue is gone. It's as if it never happened, right?
So you go on is it on the astral level, etherically?
Well, I do it through a guided meditation, basically, yeah, and it's on a higher dimensional level, definitely, and it's done through the person's heart because the heart is connected to everything that there is, all the knowledge, all the consciousness, all the frequencies, how I understand it, anyways.
That's amazing.
And so they would come with me. I'd basically take them on a time travel trip into the past. We would go into their past lifetimes, or we would take them back to their planet of origin, or we would take them back to their starship, which they flew here on before they incarnated into a body. And these kind of things would show up, right? So we would do these journeys with them to get their group consciousness from their home planet, from their star. Why did they come to Earth? What are they here to do? What are they here to assist in? Or what did they come to learn? Right? Because sometimes some of these star beings come here to learn as well, because this is a melting pot. Earth really is, with all these different races here, and evolving and growing together to rise the Earth's frequency up back to the fifth dimension, where we once were before we fell.
Yes, definitely, because we were at the 6th and we were at the 12th at one point. Then Atlantis fell and a bunch of other things fell down, and Earth was attacked by 10 different races from space. And Atlantis was imploding on itself because
Yes.
they'd used technology that was blowing up around the city, and they were being attacked from up high from the sky. And all of that created a huge earthquake and a tsunami and a typhoon, and it crashed the place all in one swoop.
Yeah, indeed. And there was other things going on too with them attempting to take over the crystal, the crystal grids around the planet, the crystals from Atlantis, right? And I was very instrumental in attempting to protect them because I was the head of the High Council who was watching over the crystals.
Yes.
And so it was a very interesting time in that time. However, we knew it was going to happen. When I say we, the ancient ones, we knew that that was going to occur. And so it was agreed that I would come in to Egypt as Ra-Ta and take the fall in Egypt as it fell darker and darker. Because when they captured me and tortured me and killed me and cut me open and ate my organs, which was kind of gruesome, I re-experienced that. It wasn't nice. And that was a turning point. That was where the last of the light beings they accessed, and they thought that they would get direct access to the Creator, to the Spirit of Mother Earth through me at that time. But there was safeguards in place, and they couldn't do that. So we knew that this fall was coming, and we knew that we had to ride it out, and that we would be back in this timeline to assist to rise the frequencies of the earth and the humanity.
So it wouldn't happen again in a cycle.
That's right.
Yeah, because when I was in Atlantis, I was a mermaid and I was rescuing people before the fall. Like, and I was caught in the earthquake and tsunami. I hit my head and my back against a
Is
huge rock during the tsunami and I died underwater.
that right? Yeah.
Yeah, during Atlantis. And I knew that already. And I had done a reading with Jim Charles, who channels
Okay.
to care from the Girkfit Near Alliance.
Okay.
She's a Lyran, huge Lyran feline.
Hmm.
And I asked her, "Can you see my timeline from Atlantis? What happened to me?" So she saw it, and it had been recorded on my website.
Right.
So she told me the exact same thing that I already knew from Atlantis. And I was sitting on some of the high councils and I
Right.
was mediating, negotiating, between the Atlantean race on Earth and other ET
Right.
species that would come and trade with Atlantis. Because when I came out of the water, I could walk.
Yeah.
I had legs.
Wow.
So it was. I remember Atlantis, and I was caught during the tsunami and the earthquake, and died that way. But I saved a lot of people, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, that is good. My memory of Atlantis was I was captured, and they put heavy lead boots on my feet, and they put me on an electronic plate, and they captured my mate from that lifetime, and they were forcing me to, with my abilities, to make the crystals work in such a way that they would be able to take them over, and they would use that power around the planet, the Earth, and the grid. And I refused to, and they kept on sending electric volts through my body, and I continued to refuse to give in, so that they would have access to the Atlantean crystals, the mother crystal, the main crystals, and all of that. So I went down in that lifetime attached to this plate when the whole thing happened, the tsunamis and on and on and on. However, the unfortunate part was is they did get me to put some dark energies into the crystals, which there was a lot of them around the Earth, but there was the main 6 of them which weren't touched. We managed to move them to a different dimension and get them out of there, which was a good thing. So this is kind of where I am in this lifetime, is finding these crystals, reestablishing them, and reconnecting them, and taking the negative energies out of them. Shall we say transmuting darkness is what I want to say. And once the darkness has been transmuted with some assistance from our galactics and from other star beings and planets who have also assisted with us to do this, we have then reestablished these crystals, and now they're beginning to activate and reconnect again. And so this is very important for this timeline.
And a lot of the crystals from Atlantis were taken to Inner Earth as
Yeah.
well, because I've seen them when I visit Inner Earth and talk to Kari, the from the Anshar group, one of the groups from Inner Earth. I've seen these huge crystal obelisks powering the cities and connecting all the Earth grids together from underneath in Inner Earth.
Yes.
So,
Yes, definitely, definitely. And they're connected from the inner Earth to the outer Earth as well. And so right now on the outer Earth, there's some activity happening that slowly begin to reconnect, and that's been starting since the spring and moving forward on a very nice steady pace. Every day something is happening, something is shifting and changing. We're working with different beings, working with blue beings, different elders are of course coming forward, and others that we're working with. And so there's a group of us doing this work, of
yeah,
course.
yeah. Have you ever heard of the Raw Confederacy?
The Raw Confederacy.
Yes, the Law of One.
Oh yes, I'm familiar with the Law of One. Definitely familiar with that. It's kind of interesting you say that, because Ra Ta is kind of, you go back to ancient Egypt, was where these laws were created and brought together with the time and what was going on, to bring forward these laws to help assist to bring the people forward so that they would rise in frequencies, right? This was the main purpose behind them. Of course, these original documents were on scrolls, and they did go down when Atlantis went down. and there is a location where they are, and they're still there. They're still there, and so yeah, I'm very familiar with them. Absolutely.
Well, I had an interesting gentleman emailing me and
Right.
asking me to channel the Rock Confederacy.
Okay.
And he wanted to ask a bunch of questions, and he's like, "Can you do it?" I mean, I can make contact with anyone.
Yeah.
I am L. I'm connected with universal light to the whole universe.
Right.
And I said, I am L. I'm one with L. So, and they're the ancient builder race descendants
Yes.
who came here. So he was asking me a lot of questions, and I said the Rock Confederacy is here. There, anyone can channel them, and but you have to. Your vibrational frequencies have to be raised enough so you're not drained when you are in communication with them. And then all of a sudden, Rate Air contacted me, the Blue Avian.
Okay.
I met him, and he told me that they have the 48 stranded DNA,
Yeah.
and they're back here for the Regenesis project. They had been created 250 million years. They're a hybrid race. They're
Right.
blue hominid race avians. They look somewhat like avians, like birds, somewhat.
Yeah.
They're not part of the Rock Confederacy per se. They're part of
No.
the Sphere Being Alliance, and they're
Yes.
called the Azurite Council.
As you're right. Okay.
Yes, and they're here. They're karmically back here with us to help us raise our DNA to the 12-stranded sequence, to raise our vibrations to the highest levels, so we can ascend with the planet to the fifth dimension. So
Right.
that's why they're here. That's why they're back with these
Mhm.
spheres, as they've been called, the Sphere Being Alliance.
Mhm. Yes.
So they're the Azurite Council. There's a name to them now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Good to know.
he spoke to me and he said, "That's why we're back. That's why we're karmically here to help you with this."
Interesting you say that because recently a friend of mine and myself just connected with these blue beings yesterday. They've been all over us and wanting to connect with us and communicate with us. And so having this understanding of the Azurite
Council.
Council. Okay. Yeah. I'll proceed forward and see what kind of response we get.
And
Definitely.
they're part of a larger policing team. The name is very long, but they were created to maintain peace and balance and harmony in many solar systems.
Right.
And to do the Regenesis project, because they knew Atlantis would fall and everything would happen. So they're
Yes.
back here to help rebuild the vibrational frequencies and for us to integrate new DNA into ourselves, the 12 stranded, instead of
Right.
just 2 or 3 strands that we have now. We're going to go up in vibrational frequency to the 12 stranded
Hmm.
DNA. And they're here to help us do that. That's how they're karmically connected with the human race on Earth. Once they help us do that, they're going to move on to something else, somewhere else. That's why the
Yeah.
spheres are back. The sphere beings are here for that purpose. So Ratier, he told me that.
Interesting.
And
Wow.
and they're a hybrid race. There's also other races that were mixed,
Right.
created to do this work. So that's where they originate from,
Okay.
250 million years ago.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Do you know anything about the Shining Ones?
There are very different shining ones because there's Pleiadian shining ones. They're
Yes.
different councils of shining ones. They're not
Yes.
all one race.
No. 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 I was just curious because that's when we came to the Earth. That's where we came from, the Pleiadian ones,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we've been called here on Earth now at this time, the Shining Ones, as we move forward to do the work that we're doing here at this time. Interesting. Interesting. You talk about the blue beings. Even we evolve, you evolve, I evolve. We all grow and understand more about who we are and our gifts and where we come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been recently brought to my attention that there's a group of beings who are here, who are known as the Black Masters, who are the kind of the ones behind the cabal and all this dark stuff on the planet. And the Black Masters came from the Draconian solar sector, right? And so,
Oh, oh yeah. I've run into them 2 weeks ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But apparently they were set up on Marduk as a quarantine area for them to begin their re-evolution to bringing their frequencies up to light. But they blew each other up. And
Yes.
so it was the same Black Masters who came to Earth, which were fighting and blew up Atlantis and Lemuria as well, right? So these Black Masters came from the Draconian solar sector, that area out there, which has been in existence for about 50 billion years, right? And so this is the Draconian solar sector, which I have come from originally, 50 billion years ago. And it was this solar sector where, in working together, myself and my soul atom half apparently were in charge as administrator for the entire solar sector at that time. And so coming to Earth, we came here through the Pleiades as assistants. As I mentioned earlier, we were called to come and assist Gaia. She cried out for help so that we could move forward. And so this is the reason why I'm here now. This is the reason why I was here in the past through all these different timelines. So our solar sector had once fallen too, however, not as hard as this one with the Luciferian rebellion and the Luciferian times and what he's been up to with self-sufficient or selfish reasons and purposes, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fallen angels, angelics.
that's right too. So I too was a fallen angel in my solar sector and went through the process and redeemed myself and came forward. And so having the experience, this is why I'm here now, and I'm awakening up to this over the last few years, right? So it's been very fascinating and interesting to understand all of it, and yet to understand what we can actually do and what we're doing to assist.
Yeah, and Ratair told me that they were created to possibly stop something again from happening like the angelic wars. They saw the angelic wars. They tried to help to stop that, but it still went down. So
Right.
they're here to help prevent the best they can something like that from happening again.
Yes, yes, definitely, most definitely. So it's the people who are coming forward now, who are coming into light, and of course, I know I've been having quite a few people come forward, expressing who they are and their connections to me, because as I've been given permission this year to come forward and be on shows such as yours and others, people are actually listening and they're saying, "Hey, I need to talk to Mark, and we need to connect because there's some things we need to do, there's some work we need to do." And so
Exactly.
this is why I'm very open at this point in time. And like I said, I've been given the go ahead from above, shall we say, to come forward.
Yeah, me too. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I had my website taken down. My
Yeah,
website was taken down because I had released a explosive expose on disclosure about the secret space programs in the Dark Fleet.
right,
And day after there was a copyright complaint filed against my website, a false complaint. Um, a up and coming author was possessed by the shadow people from the Cabral organization,
of
which
course.
sounds like those dark masters that you just
Yes,
mentioned.
yes,
They possessed her and they made her file this copyright complaint that she had written a manuscript with a publisher and that I had copied the whole manuscript and put it on my book, which I never did. I've never seen the manuscript from this woman before, so I contacted her. I contacted the publisher. They said she's not under contract for this book with us. She's under contract for some other title, which has
right,
nothing to do with my website.
right, right,
And then she said in the complaint that I had violated her rights and that her neighbor had filed a police report on her behalf against me. And I'm like, what is going on here? At that point, I didn't know she was possessed by the Cabral. Like physically, her body was possessed. So I went up on the Akashen, which is a bio-living ship from the Els, which came 13,000 years from the future. They're
right,
the descendants of the ancient builder race. Some of them are pure elves, some of them are Pleiadians. They're mixed hybrids of Andromedans as well. That's why they're descendants of the ancient builder race.
right,
So, and they told me that this woman had been possessed, and that's why she did what she did, that she was not in control of her body and her spirit essence at the time when she did this.
right.
And she didn't answer any of my emails. So that led to the conclusion that her email had been hacked as well
Of
to
course.
make her do this. And the Els warned me that one of the Cabral shadow people would be visiting me and trying to possess me and to get ready to protect myself. So and that night it happened. They came for me to try to possess my body. And I said, no, free will. I said, go away. You are not welcome in my house. You are not welcome anywhere near me, my family, and anything that I do spiritually. Go away. And they had to go away.
Yes, of course.
Because if you do not give permission to do something, they cannot do that.
That's right. No, without consent, there is no contract.
There is no contract, no obligation at all. And I filed a counter copyright complaint to get my website back.
Right.
Because it's a bogus charge. I do not agree with it. I want my stuff back because people are learning from it as wisdom teachings.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, free will, free choice. We have the right to do what we do as long as it's for the highest good, for the positivity of the light. So that's a lesson I've learned.
Yeah, well, there's many lessons on the way, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And negative greetings do sometimes come, and it's a confirmation that you did something right. You put out some information that they don't want put out.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't have to give up that, the dream, the hope, the help that you're doing for others.
Right.
Just
right.
because, a dark negative greeting came your way. So that was interesting, and that's how I learned about these Cabral shadow people. I've heard of them before, but I've never had direct experience with them. And I do have the Wicca Magic training how to remove possession.
Right.
And I also have the training for copyright laws. Actually, ironically, I know those laws, so the fact that they hit me that way is interesting.
Yeah, wow, interesting. That's right. Yeah, no kidding. Well, the thing is the tools, right? Once you get the tools, wherever they come from, wherever it's been channeled or guided, or someone comes in and says, hey, this is what you need to know, or this is what you need to do. So always being mindful, which I find, and aware in each moment, because the tools will show up when you least expect it, right?
Yes, your helping tools will come to help you. In this case, it was Anaya, who I'm in contact with. She's one of the guides on the Akashin who teaches me, who heals me. And through their frequency, the heart of the ship, I am now able to do advanced healing.
Right.
Because I'm tuned to a specific musical frequency that they have on the ship, the heart of the ship, because it's a living ship. So
Okay.
when I do Reiki, when I put my hand above somebody's body and I start singing this frequency, the person suddenly starts to feel better, and they say, the pain is gone. What did
Yeah,
you do? I said, I did nothing. It came from an above higher source to help you.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's amazing what our galactics are helping us with and helping
Well,
others.
and that's the thing too, because a while back we spoke, and we spoke in a light language with each other, and a lot of the information and healing that comes through me comes from above through my body, and so I speak these different languages and different frequencies of healing, right? And it comes straight through from source, direct, and it's very fascinating for a lot of people because it affects everyone in a different way. Some people will get visions, some people will have spontaneous healing, some people will have shifts in perspectives, or they will see something that they need to know for the future. And it just kind of goes on and on and on. And I really don't know at times what's coming in. It's just codes, which I speak a lot of times. And then, of course, there's sometimes I'll speak a language like I did with you the last time we spoke on the telephone, right?
Exactly, and I responded back with a similar but different language, but yet we understood each other perfectly clear because the translation was there. It was similar Pleiadian languages that we were speaking, and we spoke for about half an hour in those languages.
True. Yeah.
So
True. True.
that
True.
was amazing. I any language that somebody speaks to me that I don't know, it's automatically translated in my brain.
Right.
Um, because I have that natural ability, but I also have linguistic etheric implants from my time in the secret space program. So that helps to make the translation quick.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's interesting. Yeah, because there's many things, and I don't know if there's implants in me or if it's just natural or just because of who I am. Because I can tune into a person and I can tune into their planet and I can tune into the language they speak, and I've done that before on another show, and people are just amazed. How do you do that? How can you tune in and just pick that up and know the language?
Well, the same for me. I can tune into people's life frequencies. I can tell them what planet they're from, their soul origins, and it just naturally happens. And sometimes I start talking in a different light language, and I have no idea. Okay, well, that's that, and it translates automatically in my head and comes to the person because me as the human has no idea what the heck I'm babbling here,
Yeah,
and me as the higher light self was like, oh, that's that. Okay, translation done. Just tell the
yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things that it just comes in and it just flows as it is meant to flow.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, can we do a little test? Can
Sure, sure, sure.
can you tell me where I'm from
Okay,
galactically?
okay, hold on here. Okay, so I'm going to speak the language, and then I'll go into where from. Tutu tadane ichita tatanana te kurono tu kuro tana ta kiichi tutu tutunu tikina taitini ichi tuturana dayono o tu kurata tarana e kiachutu. First off, does that sound familiar?
Yes, it sounds guag
Guag
like
guag?
like an amphibian race that I'm in contact with sometimes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm picking up, and I don't know the name of this planet. I tapped into it before. There's a planet where the dolphins and whales are on, and they have come here both to learn and to assist on Earth. And I haven't been able to tune into what solar area it is or what solar system it is. But this is what I'm picking up from you, whether that be a direct connection or an indirect connection, that you spent time there, came from another place. I can't pick up on that for sure, but that's what I'm reading. I don't know if I'm closer at all there.
Well, I do have a connection to the sea and to whales and dolphins. I love listening to whales and dolphins to their song. Um, and I've always had a connection to the sea, to the oceans, to the water.
Right, right.
So, and I spent a lot of my time in the Andromeda galaxy as one of the Star Traveler Guardians. That was
Yeah,
my primary where I was stationed a lot of the time.
yeah. But
So,
before then, you were from beyond. You were from this other planet. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm picking up on. Because they've been around for a long time, and they've helped many solar systems and planets. These beings, and they're actually responsible for a lot of the matrices in the waters of, like for Earth, for example, and other planets that are with a lot of water on it. And they bring forward the knowledge of the matrices through their sounds, which we hear like from the dolphins and the whales, and they're able to change and shift and to heal the waters as well. And so that's the connection I'm picking up on.
that's interesting because I do have a connection with the water. It's very powerful. It's very healing. Whenever I sing and I'm in
Yes.
the water, I'm instantly healed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's quite beautiful. I it's a confirmation for me.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. It was just saying this, was it last year? I was at a festival where I met a gentleman and we did an exchange of energy. And so I read him and I picked up that he was from the same planet, about the whales and the dolphins. And it was kind of fascinating because he told me after I read him, he told me that they're telling me that I need to go to the east coast of Canada to the furthest point of Prince Edward Island, and you have some codes that you need to tell the dolphins and the whales because there's something is going on with the matrices out there that are out of balance, and they have to be healed. So 3 days later, I'm driving out to the east coast from Toronto, and I find this point out on the east coast, the furthest point on Prince Edward Island, and for about 15 minutes, I'm releasing the codes, I'm releasing the codes, I'm releasing the codes. And about an hour later, I'm getting my confirmation back. This beautiful six-dimensional crystal comes up out of the ocean, about 65 feet tall, and it's saying that this is one of the six crystals from Atlantis that we've managed to save and keep. And it could have came from inner Earth, for all I know. I wasn't 100% sure at that time. And Yeah, I'm just getting confirmation that that's where it came from. And so as it rose up too, there was also a sphere, a white sphere, with this lady who came up who was all white robe and hair and blue eyes. And she came forward to me and basically touched my hand from this orb. And this was my mate who went down at the time of Atlantis. I haven't seen her since that time or felt her energy or her frequency. And so it was kind of interesting. So that was the first start. And then it was about 4 weeks later, the frequency from my mate entered into a friend of mine and awakened within my friend. And then, one thing begets the next. Next thing we're down in Florida, and we're raising crystals in Florida in the Gulf. And then it goes on, and the next thing we know, there's other crystals. And then the next thing I know, by February, all the crystals from Atlantis have been raised, transmuted, and transformed. You
Wow.
know, and so all these different things have been showing up and coming forward.
And have you ended up with the friend whose, energy from your mate came in?
No, actually, she moved on, but we're friends. We're still friends, right? And so she's doing her own thing, and I'm doing mine, but we still do the work together, right? Because I've also connected with another aspect of myself from back at the time when I was ambassador in the Draconian solar sector. So we're both here now, and so we've connected and doing the work,
Amazing.
right? And so this is what we're bringing forward. And so with the work that we do is very powerful. So it does makes a lot of changes and shifts on the planet. And we do that constantly on a daily basis.
Yeah, because it's upliftment of the energy and the vibration to keep positive timelines in, to make sure nothing, well, negative stuff always comes in, but to keep it balanced so it doesn't overwhelm the positive aspects, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was interesting because there was different beings would show up and would come forward. There was one being. This is an interesting experience which I had, and yet fascinating story as well. An experience about 15 years ago, when I was just learning Reiki and this processology and some other modalities. I was doing a past life on a friend of mine, and he came to me and he says, "Mark, I don't know what's going on, but there's this being, this entity that wants to talk to you." Right? And so he entered into his body and kind of takes him over. And he says, "Hi, I am Zorak. Have you got your power back?" And I don't know what to think. I think it's the devil. So I do the cross sign and do the Lord's Prayer and everything at this time to make it go away. And so the energy went away finally. And didn't think anything more about it. But 5 years later, through another client, this entity shows up again. "Hi, I am Zorak. Have you got your powers back yet?" I'm thinking this is some war being that wants to take me on and take me out or something, right? And interestingly enough, no. And then it wasn't until I think it was just before Christmas last year, I was doing a session with a friend of mine, which we do work together, and she says, "There's this being here, this entity here outside the pyramid we're working in, who wants to talk to you." And so I said, "Okay, invite him in," right? So I work in a sacred space of the Pyramid of Giza because it's been created this when it was created in the beginning. So I use it consistently to work in that space. And so I can call any beings from anywhere, any dimension, any timeline, any council to come forward and speak with me if I need to understand or know anything. And so this entity comes in and identifies himself as Zorak. He says, "Hi, I'm Zorak. Have you got your powers back yet?" And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I do. How can I, what do you need to share? What do you wish to express?" Right? And we found out he was like a fallen star that was taken out in the angelic wars and wanted me to help transmute his energy back to what he once was. I had no clue about this when he first came to me, of course not, right? So we transformed this energy and it turned into a whole bunch of star beings, stars, literal stars from the Milky Way galaxy, right? And I thought, wow, this is just absolutely amazing to see. Because also you have to understand, coming from the Draconian solar sector as an ambassador, we are creators. We're able to create solar systems and stars and all this kind of stuff. So this is something which I do as well. right? And so it was in January, February, when we were transmuting the energies from the crystals of Atlantis. This one, Zorak, comes through and assists us with his diamond light from his stars brought together, beaming down to Earth to go into these crystals of Atlantis to begin connecting all the crystals on the planet, all the crystal children, all the crystal elementals, and all the hearts to begin the rise of this frequency on the planet. And it was a huge shift. And that was the time of the March 21st, when we had the eclipse and we had the full moon and we had the spring equinox, right? So there's some very powerful energies coming forward at that time, right?
Well, interesting how you were speaking about the reptilians and that your friend is named Zorak. I had recently had contact with a reptilian slash insectoid hybrid being
Right?
who is an advisor to the Dark Fleet, and
Yeah.
his name is Zagor.
Zagor.
Zagor, yes. And
Okay.
he was giving me all of this classified information about the structure of the Dark Fleet and how stuff looks, how their bases look, how the clothing looks of the human Dark Fleet
Right.
individuals,
Right.
of the soldiers who are in the Dark Fleet. He's just Zagor as an advisor. He to
Right.
the Dark Fleet. He's not actually stationed on their ships, on the human Dark Fleet ships, but sometimes he is invited because he's an advisor and an ambassador of the reptilian armada, and he, um, advises the Dark Fleet. He doesn't necessarily like what he's doing.
No.
It's not completely in his will. He's not happy with what he's doing, with what
Okay.
the reptilian armada is doing
Right.
and how they're guiding the Dark Fleet. But
Right.
he was willing to share this information with me so I could kind of do the expose on the Dark Fleet part of it. So he
Cool.
was my contact for that work. Even though he is not completely of the light, he's not of the darkness either.
Interesting.
He's a mix of both.
Yeah.
And I can't say he's a negative being because he didn't do
No.
anything to me. He just gave me information.
No. Well, this is a very interesting aspect, and I'm going to share this with you because I've come across similar type beings before who are mantoid type beings and have come forward. And the work that I've been doing through the pyramid in Egypt, again, understanding as that frequency of Ra-Ta, I would call these entities and beings to come and join me in this space, right? And what I would do is I have these special crystals. These crystals come from my heart center because it's part of me, it's part of who I am, part of a bigger creator being. And I would take this crystal and I would offer it to this being. And I would offer him to take it and place it in his heart center. And that being would literally transform and change into a light being almost instantly, and been given an opportunity to release what they're doing and to move on and to do something else. A lot of these beings don't know that they can do this or have this option, right? So this is something which I've been doing a lot of throughout the different solar systems and assisting different entities and beings. And it's a very powerful way of moving forward, of help transmuting their dark energies or whatever place they're at and releasing them from their holds from their masters, so to speak, or why they're doing what they're doing. Because we all do come essentially from source, and we all have a role to play in the evolution of this whole big cosmic picture, and yet we still have an essence of ourselves who wish to be working with the light and connected to the light, because we've all been fallen or disconnected or detached at some point in time, right? So there is a way to work with these beings and give them assistance to turn them around. And then a lot of these beings who I've turned around have come to help me to do other things, which is very interesting. So I have a very strong force behind me working with me, not just in this solar system, but other solar systems.
Wow. So if Zagor comes, I will give him a light crystal. And
You can contact me and I can show you how to do it.
yeah,
We can work with them together.
that would be lovely. I would love to help him to just free himself from the dark stuff that of the reptilian aspect, because he doesn't want to be part of the reptilian armada anymore.
Right.
He wants to move away from doing that stuff, from being an ambassador to the
Yes.
Dark Fleet.
Yes.
So yeah, if I see him, I will ask his permission if he would like that to be done.
Yeah. See,
Um,
it's a process where even the two of us could just get together. I have this space which I create, and I can call him forward at any time. It's very interesting how that works, right? And
mhm.
so, for whatever reason, I have that ability to do that with any being, any entity, anywhere, and to work with them and to help transform them or transmute their energies. And so, this is what we can do when the time permits it.
Yes,
Definitely. So,
totally.
so going back to the Zorak, after this happened with the light energy coming into Earth, the diamond light energy, there was a shift on the planet. And it was about that time when Michael Tellinger, I believe he was doing some work. I've done some work with him in the past. Spring equinox 2012, we were down, there was a group of us down at Adam's Calendar in South Africa with him, part of the original Council of 12, which I had managed to attract within a 1 year time frame because we had work to do. And so there was a handful of our group down there with Michael at the site and ourselves. And again, I released the codes which created the new birthing of the new Earth, which was to be completed by 2112 of that year. As you well know, the changes did happen. However, going back to Michael, he was doing a seminar, and somebody mentioned that these ancient sites looked like a keyboard on a computer or a printer, right? You have the resonance chambers, you have the amphitheater, you have the capacitors, the resistors, and it's all done through sound and vibration. A lot of the work that I do, I don't know ahead of time what's going to happen, but I get triggered by certain things that I see or hear. So when I heard that, I got triggered. I saw a picture of one of the sacred sites of Luxor, and I saw a capacitor chipboard, and I went into releasing codes, which actually activated these resonance boards on a higher dimension around the planet. With the crystal energy from the crystals, which was infused through Zorak from his diamond energy from his planets and stars, began a chain reaction around the planet to raise the frequencies of this planet. And
Wow.
it was a week later, or was it? No, it was a month later, when the frequencies have settled in enough that there was 4 spacecraft over the pyramids in Giza on the 27th of April, inverted pyramids flying upside down. And they were there for 4 hours, and you could see it on the YouTube, and you can hear the tones from these spacecraft just putting them frequencies into the pyramids down below them. And right away when I saw that, I said, wow, Ptah is here, frequency, Ptah. And I knew that the frequencies on the planet had to change before it was safe for him to enter into the planet and come here. Otherwise, he would be taking on the negativity of the fall of this planet.
Hmm.
He would take the whole thing on, and it would destroy him. And so what had happened was, through all these years of work we've done, we've managed to get the planet to a certain vibrational point where he could bring these frequencies into the Earth and arrive. And so, interestingly enough, the next day I'm looking on some site on Facebook, and I see a picture of some of these sarcophaguses inside the pyramids. But they're the giant ones, maybe 8 feet by 8 feet and a long 20-foot long with the Egyptian writing on the side. So I'm reading the writing, and then I'm getting triggered again, and I'm releasing more codes. And in that span of 15 minutes of releasing the codes, the DNA within my body awakens, and the frequency of Ptah enters and works with the DNA that's already within me and activates. And so within 2 weeks, Ptah wakes up within me the full frequencies. So now there's the embodiment of Ptah on Earth through
Hmm.
myself, being the original blueprint. And I have the original DNA because of my family bloodline goes all the way back to ancient Egypt.
That's amazing. I have also similar experience because I'm an Andromedan Palladian hybrid.
Right?
So within my body, there is the original blueprints DNA infused of my Andromedan side,
Yes.
of my soul, and my Palladian side, and they've been activated. So I can now do all of these things similar to what you described.
Mhm.
because the essences of those lifetimes, that energy is back in me. It's been reintegrated. And
Right.
that's how we can do what we do, because we've reintegrated with our ET blueprint DNA
Yeah.
sequences and codes and frequencies and vibrations. It's integrated in our human bodies, on the
Yes.
human level, on the etheric level, on every level possible,
Yes. Absolutely.
which makes all of this work possible for us to
Yes.
do.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's mind blowing for a lot of people. They don't understand the level of which we're working at, like what you're doing or what I'm doing. And it's not for the meek of mind to say either, because it can be frightening for a lot of people based on how they've been brainwashed and taught, and how they learn things in school and with their society and families and so on and so forth. However, just because they don't know it exists or they don't hear about it or don't understand it doesn't mean it's not there and the work doesn't have to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we still are here doing the work, assisting and creating and putting the word out like you're doing today.
Yeah, exactly. And the Cabral attack has made it hard to put the word out, because people are asking, where's the site? Where's the site? It looks like people are losing hope, and even I was losing hope. But then I said to myself, you know what? It's okay. It's just temporary. They can't do anything to me. This is just temporary. I have the tools and the ability to counter what they try to do.
Yeah,
It cannot bring me down, because this is just material stuff. The website is material stuff, even though it's made of, electronics and stuff. It's on sitting on some server.
right.
It doesn't really disappear.
Right.
I have the power to counter what they did and bring it back, because I'm a creator being. I have that ability. So just use your brain, contact your ET friends, contact your higher self. Think of the plan, initiate the plan to get it back, because it can be brought back. You can
Yes,
undo what was done.
yes,
That's possible for anybody to do. If you just want it so much, you can do that. Undo what was done.
yes, yeah,
Transmute the energies, the negative, make it into a positive. We all
yeah,
have that ability.
yes,
So
yeah,
it was a great lesson for me, just a confirmation. And I don't do these interviews for YouTube hits. That's not what I'm doing this. I'm just putting out bits of truth with the people I'm connected with. I'm not doing this for some fame or fortune. I do these interviews for free. It's a voluntary basis. We all do this for free.
mhm,
We give our time. We come together to share our vibrations
exactly.
and to speak the truth. We're not here to convert anyone. We're not here to brainwash anyone. We're just here sharing our truth as what we experience, as what we're doing.
Very well said. Very well said. And for me too, it's all volunteer what I do. All this, the shows and everything is because I need to get the frequencies out. I need to get the vibrations out. And sometimes it'll come through that I need to say something in a different language, and the message will be put out on the airwaves, and however it's done, and that's how it gets moved around. It really is, right? And people who are meant to pick it up will pick it up. People who are meant to watch will watch. Somebody will, for some strange reason, watch the show and who've never watched this kind of show before, and they'll get something from it, and it'll make a difference. And that's the whole idea of putting these things forward, definitely.
Exactly. I don't care if I have 2,000 views or this much hits or how many views you've looked at my video. It's not about that for me at all. People say I'm a fake, I'm a charlatan, I'm this and that, I'm, doubting me. It doesn't matter to me what you say about me. It's not about that. It's about what is here today with you and me, and what vibrations and frequencies we're sharing together and bringing out to the collective consciousness. It's you can resonate with it or you don't. That's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting with the resonations because just the last few days I've been integrating with these blue beings, and apparently I've been one of them in another lifetime, way beyond even the draconian solar sector time. So I'm going back 150 billion plus years. And I know I'm a very, very old soul, and I've been around many different solar systems and solar sectors and doing different work. And so I know that I am here to bring the blue light of the rainbow spectrum to the earth and ground it in and anchor it in. And that's been done. We've done that 3 weeks ago, brought this blue light in, and as part of the of the rays of the rainbow frequency colors here into the Earth grid. And these beings have been assisting and working with us and helping to bring this forward. And so people will feel it, or some people will not. It's going to do what it does, and it's just part of the whole process of the unfolding of the ascension of this planet and the people.
Did you
Right?
get a visual of what these blue beings look like?
My friend is actually going to hasn't done the sketch yet, but she gets the visuals and she draws them up and puts them together. I've got a whole catalog of different beings which have come forward to talk to us, and we make paintings and pictures of them so that we know what they look like. Definitely.
So do you have like characteristics of the physicality, like a
Not,
description?
not, no, not yet at this time. And she's going to tonight put the pictures together and see. But I certainly would be glad to share with you at another time,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. It would be interesting to see if they look anything like Ratier.
Yeah, it would be. And I'm curious about that myself too. As that's why I asked about this group with the name with the blue beans. So um, many things are coming forward, definitely in this way.
Yeah, it might be just like a confirmation
Yeah.
because we're both being contacted by blue beings. It might not necessarily be from the same council, but it's still a confirmation.
Okay. I'm gonna speak in a light language here and just see what you pick up on this. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm just being guided to do this now. Ta tio no o tuku hunta hae ni dak to you know o tuku chi katana te achto tayane ikita ta tane o tua ti te na to you know ukutu uchiti te naya ikiatara.
The answers of the Rainbow Bridge are within you and outside of you. It is being given to the people of the earth. This Rainbow Bridge is a construct to help many awaken at this time of change. This is a pivotal time of many light energies coming in. The blue light is like a dream within a dream, which is now being awakened and coming fully into your physical reality from the etheric realms. It is a blessing to be able to share these energies with the people of the earth through the Palladian star system and through many other galaxies. We are all here and we are all one. We are in unity. We are in peace and harmony together. We communicate to you through the rainbow bridge of the blue light frequency. That is the frequency of your heart, the blue light. It helps you shine in your soul and heal others and heal this world. We are one, as we always were and always will be, to unity in heart and peace and love, oneness and wholeness to you, our dear friend.
Very well said, indeed. And
Does that resonate?
absolutely, and that's what we did. We brought that light in three
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago.
Yes, that was the literal translation
Yes,
of what you
yeah,
were saying in the light language.
absolutely, yeah. And so this is, and the next color that's coming in is green, from what I understand, and then yellow. And so there are other colors of the rainbow light coming in, which will create the whole spectrum, which will assist in this rising of frequencies for the people to feel and to vibrate with and to rise along, right? And this is what we bring forward. This
And
is what,
that's literally constructing the rainbow bridge and holding it stable for this
yes,
planet to do its evolution and to move into the fifth dimension.
yes, and that's what our group is doing. That's what we're part of this,
That's
putting this
am-
together,
that's amazing. Wow.
you
And
know?
Ratier's energy is blue. Like I could feel his essence. It was blue, etheric blue. He was in this blue light. And he didn't really look like avian. He didn't have too many feathers. It was more like silvery blue.
Yeah,
So he looked to me a lot different than the Sphere Being Alliance avians, the blue ones, but he's the same. He's a blue avian.
yeah, yeah.
So, and he might look different to other people. Like they could take on slightly different appearances as well in how they show themselves to your particular perspective and how you see them.
Yeah, I get that. And like I said, we're gonna get a drawing made together. We'll share that with you, and you can check it out and see. And then again, we can connect another time, and we can call them forward to talk with them because
Yes.
I have this ability to do this. So if there's anybody that would like to come forward and connect with us, we can connect with and have conversations and meetings with. in this space.
I think Ratayer would love to do that because he speaks to through Corey Good as well. He's made physical contact with Corey Good.
Right,
And there's an image of him, of Ratayer on Corey's website, Sphere Being Alliance.
right.
So these sphere beings are making contact with light workers and light warriors. So it's quite it's just another full on confirmation
Hmm.
that they're
Absolutely,
here and that they're talking to us
absolutely.
and helping this planet as we ascend in our vibrations higher in the frequencies. So, is there anything else that you would like to talk about and share with us?
Yeah, well, there's always something. There's always something. It's kind of like we're at this place right now where these frequencies have risen quite a lot this year, as I just expressed with the different things that have gone on, and with the bringing forward the crystals of Atlantis. Um, there's many different multi-dimensional beings who I've brought forward. Again, like I said, I have many different warriors and guardians stationed around this solar system on Mars, Venus, on Earth, watching portals and gateways, and also watching the Atlantean crystals. There's quite a force watching over them as they are beginning to integrate and connect with each other. What is going on now, and this is part of the rising of the frequencies, because we're also reactivating the pyramids. It's through the pyramids that the teleportation system was set up on the planet Earth with the use of the crystals, right? And so this is something that we're putting together right now, a group of people that I work with. And what we see down the road is the ability to go inside these pyramids and tap into these frequencies and teleport yourself to different parts of the planet once again, like we used to do many eons ago, right? And so it's in bringing these energies forward, which is part of the reason for the crystals coming forward. It's not just for teleportation, but it's also for the whole biosphere of the Earth, holding the outer shell together, holding the frequencies in, and holding the higher vibration together, and sustaining that within the planet, within the Mother Earth herself. Um, so where this goes from here, from today, is the big question, because we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, I'm sure you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody gives me a script and says, Mark, tomorrow you're going to do this and that, and this is going to show up and that shows up. It's like, okay, so what's next?
Exactly. Well, I've been seeing glimpses of the future, like how cities are going to change. I'm literally walking on the street or driving in the car. I'm the passenger, and I'm looking at the buildings of the cities, and I'm seeing the future of how those buildings change
Right.
and how the planet looks, how that neighborhood looks in the future. So there has been the Mandela Effect has been moving my future sight up forward a couple
Yeah.
hundred years and seeing the future. And the Mandela Effect is around me, all around me. Last week there was a shooting near my house, like right next door. I heard
Yeah.
pop. Then all of a sudden I see, like, my window was open, this was nighttime. I see a chopper, a helicopter, a police helicopter circling around with the flash beams, looking around, seeing what's happened. And then 5 minutes later, there's this military airplane circling around my house 4 times, and I could hear the thwoop, 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 thwoop. It's an airplane. It's not a helicopter, but
Right.
it's yet it's making this thwopping sound like a chopper, and it's not a chopper with these red lights flashing. So it sort of looked like a plane, and yet it didn't.
Right.
So, and I'm like, what is happening? And 15 minutes of that went on,
Right.
of this military airplane circling around my house 22 times. Like thinking, this is not my reality. My mother saw this happening in the backyard. She was in the backyard, and I just went into the bathroom, opened the large window, stuck my head out of on the rooftop to have a look because I'm close to the roof. So I'm looking around. I'm like, that this can't be happening to me. Nothing happens in the little resort town that I live. It's always quiet. I
Right.
live in a forest in a private community where
Right.
nothing happens. So I'm like, that's the Mandela effect. And I'm like wondering what's going on. And the psychic energy whispers told me that it's a serial sociopath that was killed, that something went wrong with arms trading, with weaponry.
Right.
Something went wrong with the deal that he was trading with weapons. He was going to blow something up. So I'm like, okay, close that. You don't want to hear any of that at night. So I closed it down. And I'm expecting to see something on the news the next day because the shootings are reported. If the military was hanging around in a military airplane and the police chopper was here too, something will be reported. Nothing was reported. Nothing. Like it
Wow.
never happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
I'm
there's a
just
lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on. Things happen that aren't reported and put out there, so we're aware of that. You're aware of it. I am too. And so many of these different things that unfold are just, yeah, put down to rest, and we don't want to tell anybody and get them curious about what's going on because it's a whole other world or another area which they can look into and discover and open another can of worms up, so to speak, which,
yeah. So I'm just wondering because the military was involved, they probably just swept it up quickly, cleaned it up, took away the body, took away the serial killer. Nothing ever happened because the serial killer killed somebody in my neighborhood and just was cleaned up.
yeah,
There's nothing, or I'm just wondering if it happened in my little reality, in my vicinity, in little part of the neighborhood, nobody else saw it because that's the Mandela effect at play. My mom and I saw it.
yeah,
Maybe the neighbors didn't because it happened in an alternate reality to what is in the physical reality.
right,
So kind of something bled out from another reality into mine for 20 minutes. We saw it, but then it bled out from this reality like it never happened.
yeah, yeah. It's just, I don't know. I call those kind of things a timeline shift. Something just changes from one moment to the next. So from one reality to the next, one timeline to the next. So it sounds like the same kind of experience that I would say, because I've been having many timeline shifts over the last years. You'd be in one reality one minute, and the next time you're okay, something's different about this. The people you're connected with, the connection's not there anymore. Different things are happening, and it's okay. We're rising in frequency. We're up to the next level, the next level, the next level, and kind of moving on.
Yeah, exactly. And while I was sitting at my computer when I heard the gunshot, I was like, my higher self said, it's business as usual. Continue on. Do not worry about the shooting. It does not affect you. And I'm like, what? There's a shooting going on. How can it not affect me? It's right beside my house. I just heard this. And it's like, continue on with your usual business like nothing ever happened. This does
Yeah,
not affect you. Same message came from my higher self. And then I ran out into the bathroom to open up my window to look at the rooftop and look up what's happening in the sky, and all this is going on after
yeah,
the pop of the shooting was heard. And my higher self's like, business as usual, no worries, just continue on with your business. This is a reaction you're experiencing of excitement to the
yeah,
to what's going on around you. It's new, it feels new, it's a different experience because you've never heard a shooting beside your house. So you're processing this and it seems exciting, but it's business as usual. Don't worry. Move on.
yeah.
No need to gawk at this anymore. This show is over. Go back into the house. So I'm like, okay, let it go. Move on.
Well, that's the biggest thing too, is discernment, right? Because we are going to see a lot of different things. We are going to see things on different levels that other people don't see as well. And for us, as a light worker, so to speak, coming forward, we have to deal with these things on a day-to-day basis. And literally, we're dealing with, one person or one entity or 100 entities or a whole planet of entities in some cases, which I work with and assisting cleaning their planet up or assisting in creating new things for them to help them survive or a new sun or something like that. And so, of course, there's also warring sanctions going on out there too. And so to discern yourself, saying, okay, this is all part of everything unfolding. There's energies changing, and everyone is waking up sooner or later. Eventually, this whole solar sector will come back up to the fifth dimension and the sixth dimension, and so on and so on, right?
Yeah.
So that's the ultimate goal. That's what this age of Aquarius is right now, is the last 2,000 years of bringing us up to the fifth dimension. We're entering the bottom frequencies, the lower end of the fifth dimension by the end of this year, and then going into them next year. And then over the next 5 years, there's going to be a lot of shifts and changes we'll see in society and in the way things are handled with the money system and what's going on, which is already happening. We see the changes with BRICS and other stuff happening. And it is moving forward. And so we just as light workers have to be mindful every day, do our job, be diligent, do what we can, pay attention to who shows up, and these different beings who come forward from time to time as well, like we talked about the blue beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they come through on a higher frequency etherically, or if they actually show up physically on your doorstep, knocking your door and say, "Hey, we want to come in and have a coffee. Let's talk," right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've been told that somebody might come knocking on my door during the September of the T variety and say, "Let's have a coffee. Let's do
Yeah,
an exchange. You can go up on my ship. We can come down in your home in groups of 10 and do an exchange." I told this to
yeah,
my mother, and she's like, "Oh, okay, 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 okay." Because my dad and my mom, they weren't like really believers into this stuff, but they see a lot of weird stuff in this house. So they're like, okay, well, okay, we're going to have guests of the extraterrestrial variety come for a visit. That's okay.
yeah,
They're like, we can't believe our daughter is saying this, but and I've healed my mom with that energy frequency that I start saying that I've never done before. And she's like, I
right.
feel a lot better. And this validates to me that you are in contact with some ETs.
Yeah,
So for her, it's brand new world.
yeah. Well, absolutely. Yeah. No, I get the same thing with my mother too. She's going, "Oh my God, all this stuff is going on," gets her a little anxious and scared sometimes. But I say, "Hey, I've been in touch with a walk-in who is from an Andromeda star system, Butte. Took her back to her planet. We saw what it was like, the domes, the energetic etheric domes they lived in, the transportation, the towers, how the whole planet was like. It was just absolutely amazing experience, because this is what I do with people. I take them back and we'll do a walkthrough, so to speak, right? Speak their language, and then I just say I'll tweak her so I can do something to help that person speak their native language, right? And so I opened her up and she started speaking the Andromedan language from the planet Butte. And then I was curious. I said, "Okay, so how did you get to Earth from there?" Like, this is a real opportunity to explore and see, how does a being get from a seventh dimensional planet into a third dimensional planet here on Earth,
Yes.
right? And so she says, "Well, that was easy. We came here in a spaceship." I said, "Okay, cool. Let's go to your spaceship then and talk to the people on the ship. I want to find out more." And she says, "No way you can do that." I said, "Absolutely." And the next thing you know, there we are in this spaceship on an etheric level on the seventh dimension, and the two captains are there, two female captains. The consciousness officer was there. The medical officer was there, and there was the communications officer. And this walk-in person was a scientist, and so she volunteered to walk into an Earth being to start the process of the 1,000 walk-ins coming from the Andromedan star system. Okay, and so we've been up on the ship several times talking with the captain and the consciousness officer, and said, let's get together. So they've been preparing us to bring us up on board this fall to have a conversation and a coffee, so to speak, right?
Cool. I mean, I might get some visitors too that are physically going to come down on Earth. They said they're L and that I know them and they're from the Akashan. And they're going to come in groups of 10 to my house. So anything could happen at this point, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. So this is kind of where we're at, moving down the road in the future. So there will be beings, and I was told in the springtime I will be contacted by off-planet beings, and they will actually physically come and see me because of who I am and the work I do.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where that goes too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, September 16th is the full moon, and that's when my visitors are supposed to come and visit. So, I'm open minded to anything's possible. If they come,
Yeah,
great. If not, that's okay too. I'll just continue on with my work.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so that's kind of where it is right now. And so we're seeing what's the next stages, what the next steps are, and what shows up tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's
Because
been it's been an epic year. All these different things that have happened, which I've shared with you today, and just onwards and onwards.
exactly. And it's like it's the new frontier in reality, really.
Yeah,
It's the new age, the new change. So anything can happen and I mean, even with what's going on with the politics and stuff, it's not business as usual. It really
no,
isn't. I mean, Hillary Clinton has been seen having some kind of an episode where her head was going like this and it was
Oh yeah.
filmed on TV. People are wondering, is that a clone? Did she have a seizure? Did somebody possess her? What's going on with this person? It's happening on live. It's being
Yeah.
recorded. And
Yeah.
you would never see these things happen to politicians before on camera.
No.
No,
No.
never.
No. It's a clone effect is what's going on, and this is what's happening. Definitely.
Yeah,
Right. This is what we're dealing with. These are these beings who are here that's running the countries, and it's just it's craziness. So as people wake up and start saying, "Hey, something's not right here," move forward. And the only way that's going to happen is if we can continue doing the work we're doing, raising the consciousness of the planet and the grids, and making the changes from the higher levels. And that's how what's going to make the changes, really.
exactly. And Donald Trump is looking meticulous and well put together and cool. Nothing, he's not bobbing his head. He's not doing this or that. He's just going on his business as usual with his salesman speeches and wowing the public, wowing the crowds.
Yeah.
So he has a chance of making president.
Yeah. Yeah. And he does. And that makes the cabal worried, of course, concerned, shall we say. So we'll see what happens. It's all I can say. It's going to be interesting unfoldment this year. A lot of stuff are going to happen by the fall, well, the fall equinox and then the winter solstice. So we're preparing, we're getting ready, and we'll see where it's going to go, right?
Yeah, and I don't think Donald Trump is a clone running around town. I think it's the genuine McCoy at times.
Yes, I believe he's a real deal. That's for sure.
Because there's no discrepancies in him. It's like tandem at tandem, same type of timeline going around. He's acting all cool and calm and collected. He's doing his thing. He's a good salesman. He's selling the pitch, and
Yeah,
people are buying what he's selling because it sounds very good.
yeah,
In
it
theory
is.
and on paper, it looks good too. How it will be implemented in physical practice, that would be the interesting thing. Can he actually deliver what he's selling to us?
Yeah,
That would be interesting to see. And hey, I think he has a chance. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out on Hillary, her email scandal, her Clinton Foundation, other Benghazi scandals. It's like they're really ripping into this person.
yeah,
They're
definitely.
they're trying to disclose something about her, and it's coming out in this presidential election.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where it all goes. That's the interesting part. But what I'm getting is I'm feeling Batal wants to say something. He's eating away at me here. And I'm going to let you pick up the message on it because you do such a good job. It's great.
Well, I'll pick it up, but then you describe it too and what
Yes.
it was, just
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Tutte nei chitana te turiono rakta dai kieta to untu hutati tike ni di da turiono ai ki intiana dai toye to no to du dura dai kitine titine tu uchunta dai kiita nakta dai yono otutu tuia nai de no to tukana dai cheitia da dai kutara dai kichiti tatata.
Do you not worry about anything? Things may not be as they seem, but the truth is always revealed at the point where it needs to come out. All of this is done for a good reason, all that is happening on this planet, and the individuals acting as they do, that is okay. They are revealing secrets which have long been held and now are coming forth out in the light, in the open for people to see a newer, a truer reality of what really is that has been hidden before and now is being revealed in the time frame that is meant to happen and be revealed. It is all information that is happening, and as it should be, it'll continue to flow and to be revealed as the truth and not the hidden aspects that have been long held secret on this planet from your people.
Very well said. Yes, indeed. And so this is coming forward and just understanding that this is how it is. And so each and every day we walk forward in peace and contentment within myself, anyways, not being fearful or upset about what's going on because it is unfolding as it's meant to unfold. And we're just here sharing the news and helping keeping the people informed.
Yeah, and Pata said it's okay. It might not be as it seems, but the truth is being revealed as it is meant to come out when it is meant to come out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's for the people because some of them might react overly rebellious if it comes out at the wrong time. So it comes in little chunks, little pieces, little tidbits, and that's how it's meant to be. And while that's coming out, then we're doing the work from underneath. So that's kind of where we're at. Yeah, definitely. So I'm having little glitches here. I'm almost out of power. Unfortunately, I don't have another power source where I am here. So
Well, that's
maybe,
okay. We've covered a lot,
yeah,
and yesterday I was on another show, and the person asked me, "Well, why aren't we getting a huge data dump? People won't be scared. The fear factor is not going to scare people." And I said, each person is different, and the truth is assimilated differently for them. We might be ready for a huge data dump, other people might not. So we're all moving at our own pace. And when we're ready for the truth to come out, it will come out for the collective, it will come out for us individually, as we're ready to absorb what is and what could be.
exactly. And that's how it is.
Yeah,
Indeed.
you can't just dump something on one person and expect them to react one way and for another person to react the same way and not be in fear. Some people might be in fear, some might not, because the shock factor is not the same for everyone. So you can't put the same boot size on people and expect them to react all as one and be okay
Right.
with stuff. All of us are individuals and different, and we're starting to act as a collective
Yeah.
to evolve, and some of us might need more time, some of us might need less time, and it's happening as it is meant to unfold with
Yeah.
the flow.
Yes, exactly. And so hopefully some people will get the message today from the show and it will awaken or trigger different things and events. And then you and I, of course, we will reconnect and call these entities, these beings forward at some point in time and see what we can do with that.
Yes, definitely, it will be an awesome experience, and I'm open-minded to experiences. That's why I'm
Perfect.
here, to learn, to experience, to incorporate that in my life flow and others and help.
Yes, indeed, and indeed. And so before my power gets shut off completely here, I'm down to a last bar. I'm going to have to say farewell in a sense until the next time we connect. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to come forward. And I will just say this from Pata. Da tadenei ki atono no do yunu chakata tai ki I da danaye to taine to I ku untata taidu deni I titea na daihunta kara.
Peace, love, and beauty, it all shines in your hearts and it's in your souls. You are all whole and safe. Love is with you. We are with you. It is the divine. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Namaste.
namaste indeed. And thank you so much, Ileana, for today. And again, we'll touch base sometime afterwards in the next
We
while.
will do. Excellent. Thank you, Mark. And we are signing off now. Namaste and sayonara, folks.